Hi, my name is Sydney Huebner. I'm going to be walking you through my 20-minute restorative mat Pilates flow, reaching the arms up and overhead. We're going to reach up and over towards that left side, feeling a nice stretch on the right side body. Using our core to bring us back through center, we'll grab that left wrist as we reach up and over towards the right. Using the core to come back through center, interlace those fingertips behind the back, getting a nice shoulder stretch. We're going to bring our heart down towards the thighs, slight bend through the knees, rock the head no. Just warming up the upper back, releasing that grip. We're going to bring those fingertips down towards the mat, adding a pedal through the knees. We're going to have the weight heavy in the heels, swaying side to side, turning this into a ragdoll. We're going to peel the spine vertebrae by vertebrae as we roll up, reaching those arms up and overhead. Now we're going to meet in the center of our mat on all fours. Bring this wrist right underneath the shoulders, stretching into our cat, arching up into the cow, rounding out the spine here, taking some fluid movements, making that breath continuous throughout this whole practice. And we'll meet up in that neutral spine. Tucking through the toes, we're going to lift the knees about an inch off of our mat. We're going to take this entire shape, shift it forward and back, hinging from the toes. Weight is heavy in the balls of the feet. And then we'll hold that tabletop position here. Eventually, we're going to walk it back into a tall plank, keeping those shifts going with the toes, forward and back. Gaining some mobility through the ankles. And then eventually we're going to hold that long plank, walking back to our tabletop. Dropping down through the knees, untucking the toes. We'll sit back into our shell stretch here. We're going to bring that left hand over towards the left side of the mat, placing the right palm right on top. And then eventually we'll bring those palms back through center, as we place the right palm to the right, setting the left palm on top, sending the weight back into the left. We'll bring both palms through center as we bring this shape back to our tabletop. We're going to lower down onto the tummy as we bring those arms right outside of the gaze. We're going to press evenly into both arms, lifting through the chest up into our swan. Making sure that we're not dumping weight into that lower back. Lifting nice and smooth, wave-like motion here. Keeping our head in line with the spine as we lower back down. One more lift here, and then we'll bring that shape back down. We're going to reach those arms out and away from us, making an X shape with the entire body. We're going to be lifting opposite arm, opposite leg. Staying on that same side as we lift and lower. We want to imagine that we're moving through peanut butter here, so having nice and controlled movements. We're going to do one last lift here, and then eventually we're going to turn this into little pulses. Half an inch up, half an inch down. Keeping that control for 2, last one. Now we'll switch it over to the opposite side. And then again, we're going to turn this into a little pulse, half an inch up, half an inch down, repeating on that same side. Lowering all the way down. We're going to place one palm on top of the other, keeping those hips glued into the mat as we lift those legs with straight leg pointed toes. Hinging just from the legs here. Upper body stays pressed into the mat. Now we're going to leave the toes lifted and we're going to click those heels together, making little beats, imagining that we're Dorothy trying to get home. For 2, last one. We'll bring those hands underneath the chest, pressing up and away, sending those hips back. Holding this shell stretch here. Eventually, we're going to meet back on that left hip, coming down onto the left arm. We're going to extend through the right leg, bringing our top hand to the hip. We want to make sure that we stay lifted through that bottom oblique. We're going to begin lifting that right leg as we lower and lift, creating nice control here, pointing through the right leg. And we'll keep that motion going. Now we're going to add some flexion through the right ankle as we point and flex. This is going to strengthen our ankle joint, strengthen our mobility. And now we're going to pulse for 3 and 2. Last one, bringing that toe all the way down. We'll extend through the left arm, making sure both hips are stacked one on top of another. We're going to reach for that top leg, curling 2 to 3 inches up. It's a really small movement. We're going to be feeling it in the upper back as we reach and keeping that control. Last one here. Then we'll reach that top arm up and overhead, adding a lift with that right leg as we lower back down. Feeling that whole right side working. You're using that bottom arm to help press you up here, creating a fluid motion, and we'll pulse for 4, 3, and 2. Last one. Lower all the way back down. Great work, y'all. We're going to bring those knees in, pressing up into our mermaid. We'll bring that left palm to the mat, reaching that right arm up and over, bringing that right arm back beside us. So you're trying to keep those hips glued down to the mat. You should feel a nice stretch in that right side body, keeping this motion going. And eventually we're going to reach up and over with that right arm, bringing that palm down towards the mat. We'll square off through the shoulders, reaching through the heart, lifting through the chest. And then we'll press back down, untwisting, grabbing that back ankle, reaching the left arm up and overhead. And we'll bring that hand back down to the mat, sweeping those feet around. We're going to repeat this whole series on the opposite side. Bringing that right arm down, staying lifted through the bottom hip. We're going to reach through the left toe this time. Lifting and lowering. One last movement here, and then we'll turn it into our ankle flexion. So pointing and flexing. Warming up that left ankle, keeping that fluid motion. One more here. And now we're going to lower onto that right arm, extending through the bottom leg. We'll bring that left hand beside the hip, reaching for that heel 2 to 3 inches. That right arm is straight out in front of you, helping leverage you up and down here. It's just a small movement on that left side. Reaching that top arm for the heels, we'll bring that palm back towards the mat, creating a fluid motion on that left side. And one more here. Reaching for the heel and pulse, keeping that small movement in the left side, and then we'll reach that arm up and overhead. Pressing back up into our mermaid, we'll bring the right hand right down to the mat. We'll reach that left arm up and overhead, bringing that elbow right beside the waist, feeling a nice extension in that left side body. Gluing that right palm to the mat. I'm going to do one more up and over here, reaching, and we'll bring that palm down to the mat, squaring off evenly into the shoulders, lifting through the heart. And then we'll reach that left arm back up and over, And we'll reach that right arm up and overhead. Now we are going to pivot onto our sit bones. Both feet are going to be out in front of you in a nice pike. We want to make sure that we're stacked nice and tall to begin. Imagining we're holding a wakeboard rope and that someone's punching us in the gut. We're really rounded through the tummy. As we roll down into our C curve, we're going to round back up using the core to keep this fluid motion nice and controlled. Rounding down, reaching through the fingertips, keeping our gaze focused on one point out in front of us, stacking back into that nice tall spine. Do 2 more here, reaching all the way back up. Those arms are going to reach up and overhead. And then we'll round through the core, peeling the spine just until we find that sticky spot. And then we'll round back up, reaching the crown of the head nice and tall. Arms lift towards the ear and then roll back down. The arm lift is optional, but we're going to take it into pulses for 2 and 3. Little movements with the arms. 4, reaching all the way back up. Great work. We'll take this into a forward fold, bringing that heart down towards the shins. Option to walk those hands out in front of you, dropping the head, letting the head hang heavy. And we'll bring those knees together, soles of the feet. Dropping the head towards the thighs, hanging nice and heavy. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, turning this into a butterfly. We're going to lean from the heart, bringing it down towards the toes. We're going to extend both legs out in front of us, lifting up into our reverse plank, lowering back down, reaching those arms back up overhead like we did earlier, lifting through the hips, lowering back down, making sure that we're mindful of the wrist here. And then we'll lower back down, lifting those hips, looking at the toes as we point out and away, and reaching those arms out in front of us, going back into that C curve, rolling back down all the way onto the mat. Arms come up and overhead. We're going to shoot those fingertips up to the ceiling, bringing both knees into our tabletop. We're going to go for our single leg stretch. So pulse, pulse, switch. Pulse, pulse, switch. As one knee comes into the nose, we're reaching the opposite toe out and away from us. Trying to find a nice cadence. And then we'll take a breather, hug those knees into the chest. We're going back into our double leg stretch. So both legs reach out and away. We're going to circle the arms out and around, creating a nice, consistent movement here, using that core to keep us controlled. 1 more, and then we'll grab those thighs, take a little rest. We're going to reach our arms out into a T, bring those knees up into tabletop. We're going to drop the knees over to the left as we look over towards the right. Taking this into our spinal twist, we'll bring the knees back through center, lowering both knees over to the right, looking towards the left this time. Feeling a nice twist. Making sure we continue breathing, we'll bring both knees back through center. We're going to wiggle down a little bit on our mat, bringing those heels underneath us. We're going to go into our bridging series. As we see curve, peeling the spine up into our full bridge, and then we'll lower back down. Hips are the last to drop. Keeping those arms pressed evenly into the mat as we roll, engaging through the whole body, and then we'll lower back down. You want to go as slow as you can here, taking the bridge at your own pace, tucking from the tailbone as we roll up. Then we're going to reach those arms up to parallel, lowering back down and then dropping the hips. This is going to create some tension with the balance. always an option to leave the arm lift out. Reaching up to parallel, lowering back, and then tucking from the tailbone as we lower the spine. We're going to do one more here, reaching up, bringing those arms up to the ceiling, and we'll lower and lift, just moving from the hips. Again, you can always bring those arms down to support you. For 2. And last one, we roll all the way back down. We're going to hug those knees into the chest, rocking side to side. Now we're going to extend the leg, creating that same pulse movement that we did earlier. Always an option to bend through the knees if you don't like having straight legs here. And the next time that we grab that right shin, we're going to lower the left leg all the way back down towards the mat. That right foot is going to be parallel up to the ceiling. So we roll out through the right ankle, creating some ankle mobility. I want you to imagine that I tied a rope to your right foot and that it's stuck all the way on the ceiling. So from that right leg, you're a straight line. We're going to climb the tree as we reach for the right ankle. The only thing that's moving is your upper body. That right leg is still stuck in space. And as you roll the head up, we're going to look at the lower abdominals and roll back down. And then we'll bring both hands beside the hips, going into our straight leg lower and lifts. Pointing energy through the right leg as we lower and lift. For 2. Last one, we'll lower that leg all the way down to the mat. And then eventually we're going to bring that left leg over to the left side. Reach both arms up and overhead. We're going to grab that right wrist as we do a half crescent shape over to the left. You should feel a nice side body stretch. And then we'll bring the right foot over to the right, hooking the left leg on top. We're going to reach up and over towards the right. Feeling a nice stretch in the left side body. And then we'll bring everything back to center. Hugging into our dead bug, rocking side to side. Eventually, we're going to go back into that straight leg pulse. Last one. Now we're going to grab that left leg, lower through the right. Now we're going to be rolling out through the left ankle. Again, I want you to imagine that I tied a rope to that left foot, and from your left foot all the way to your hip is stuck in space. You're not moving. We're going to curl up as we reach for that ankle. Rolling back down. These are called climb a tree. If you've done a reformer Pilates class, you'll do some variation of this. You're going to reach up for that ankle, rolling back down, working the upper abdominals, and then we'll lower, placing both palms beside the hips, reaching through that left toe as we lower and lift. I want you to imagine that that left foot is drawing a straight line, so you have long energy pointed through the toe. And then we'll reach both arms up and overhead, bringing those knees back into chest. We're going to roll like a ball using the momentum from our knees to balance us in this little hold, trying not to touch the toes to the mat. And we'll create some claps up and down with the toes, strengthening the abs, and then eventually finding our pike position one last time. I drop the chest, finding our forward fold. Should feel different than that first one that we took. And eventually, we're gonna roll onto the toes. I do this in every single Pilates class. If you've ever taken a class by me, you know what we're doing. We're gonna drop that left ear towards the left shoulder. If you'd like a little bit extra stretch, you can bring that left hand towards the top of the head. And then we'll bring the right ear towards the right shoulder, bringing that right hand to the top of the head. Releasing there, we are going to come up onto the toes. Going into our balance challenge as we bring one hand into the heart. See if you can bring the other to meet. If you want another challenge, you can see if you can close down the eyes. Thank yourself for doing this class today. We're going to lengthen out through the legs, separating those feet hip-width distance apart. One last forward fold. We'll hang heavy through the upper body, shaking out through the head, rock no, but end on a yes because you just did that. Finding a heavy forward fold, and then we'll stack that spine as we roll vertebrae by vertebrae all the way up. Inhale and exhale what you no longer need. Thank you all so much. Have a great day.